Good Sunday morning. Welcome to another edition of the Sideline Junkies. Sunday Rise. It's me, the big guy KG, fresh in off my trip on the mothership last night. Party went well. Joined by the incomparable, the undefeated, and the undisputed Midnight Rider.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. How you feeling?
Hey, man, I've been in my bag this whole week, man. I sat on my glasses. I had to fix them somehow because I don't know the next time I'm getting to a glasses shop. So, hey, man, we making it do. We got what to do, man.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm right there with you. I'm trying to, like I said last night, and I've been saying all week, we trying to get some logistical things done in the studio. So we moving around and doing what we got to do to get this show back running smoothly again. But it's like everybody got something logistical going on. So just bear with us, bear with our dust, because we are coming back strong. So let's jump off in this thing.
All right, let's go.
Ja Morant suspended for 2 games. First, so many things have come out. They said last summer he punched a teenager. At first, I heard he was 13, and I heard he was 17. But either way, he was a teenager. He punched him 12 to 13 times and waved a gun in his face. That was one. 2 was him and 9 people went back up to the mall to a shoe store to get into it with people in the shoe store because they disrespected his mom. Then this latest incident, which happened night before last, he was on live. I think he was at a club, and he was waving a gun around in the club on live. The NBA is investigating, and now they have suspended him for 2 games. Gilbert Arenas chimed in on this, and he was like, well, I don't see nothing wrong with it. I would expect that from Gil. I really would. I would expect that from him. Your thoughts, your opinions on this Ja Morant situation?
Fame is a hell of a drug, man. I mean, the kid came out early, said, I think it was Taylor interviewing him, and she said, what do you need to win the West? He came out with his bravado and was like, I'm good in the West. All I'm worrying about is like Boston or something like that is what he said, or to an extent what he was saying. Basically, he can get out of the West with no problem. He's worrying about the other side of the conference. Of the league. And that bothered me to begin with. I love the bravado, I love the confidence, but there's a point where you got to also have some respect, because you guys haven't won anything. You're not there yet. You can't stomp around the yard like a big dog when you ain't won nothing. You have no titles, nothing to your name, and you pound on your chest. I just don't get it. Like they doing victory laps and you just made the Western Conference Finals. That's it.
And what's crazy is, what I heard? You haven't arrived yet. That's what I heard.
Oh yeah.
You're a little dog. You still piss with your leg down, and you still on the porch. That's what I heard.
It's amazing to me how that happened. But I like their bravado because at least they're trying something. And this is probably the most you ever talked about Memphis. To Ja specifically, I just think the dude kind of lost in the moment. I mean, I think it's swimming. Everything's so big in his world that his world wasn't ready for it. So little things are coming out that that's just gnawing at him. And how he comes out of this on the other side is going to be either his redemption story or the cursory tale to a narrative of life going wrong. So that's how I see this. I see this as his crossroads, and he's got to figure it out. What kind of guy am I? Because Shannon said it. That's not your lifestyle. Stop trying to fake it. But until he realizes that, and he gets comfortable not having to be that guy, he's going to be in trouble. So I wonder who his mentors are that get in his ear, and hopefully he has someone that can tell him no, and that's not a person that's going to just say yeah and go along with everything like it's cool.
Here's my thing. And I've been holding on to this because, number one, everybody said Shannon Sharpe was wrong for what he said to him. Shannon Sharpe was absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Number two, the bygone era that I've been trying to tell everybody. Hey, when you got young guys, you have to pair them with the veteran. You have to have a veteran that's been in this league that can say, hey, look out for this, and this. You need to watch this. You need to watch who you hang with. Nah, come on. Hang with me, Rook. Forget all that. Oh, that's not going to happen no more because veterans don't do this and veterans don't. Veterans do that. But those young guys think they know it all. See, if Ja Morant had a vet in his ear, he wouldn't be making these mistakes. If you had the Tim Duncan, and guys change teams too much for this to happen, but if you had the Tim Duncan, David Robinson experience where Tim Duncan stayed with David Robinson for 2 weeks as a rookie to learn NBA life and what it was like. He stayed with him 2 weeks. You don't have veterans coming to pick up the young bull at the airport and be like, nah, you coming to stay with me till you get on your feet. You know, it's so many.
Well, the problem is the veteran is only 24 years old.
Exactly. You don't have those savvy veterans that's 29, 30, got the dumb stuff out their system, and they like, look, or they're the AC Greens. Because if I had AC Green on my team back in the day, I'm pairing AC Green with whatever rookie, you know, and then we have the rookie symposium. They tell you all of these things. NBA, NFL, I don't even know if the MLB and the NHL have it, but I know NBA and the NFL have the rookie symposium where they tell you these things to look out for, who not to hang with. You know, Chris Carter lost his job at ESPN because he's like, you got to have a fall guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that. I'm like, yeah, you got to have a guy that's going to take the fall for everything. That way you come out clean. However, Ja Morant is, and you say a mentor. I think his dad is mentor enough. He's lucky enough to have his dad in his life and has had his dad in his life as well as his mom. You grew up in a 2-parent household. And you telling me, not saying, you know, it's not possible, but you grew up in a 2-parent household. You went to private school. You've been afforded the chance to play on the biggest stage in the world of the NBA. And now all of a sudden you want to be a thug? You want to be a gangster?
So you must have heard the 8 Mile version.
Yeah.
Video.
I heard that, but then also I did my research, and he actually did go to private school. Here's my thing. I think what he's doing is detrimental to himself, but it's also disrespectful to his parents because they tried their damnedest to keep him away from the streets. But now you're trying to run to the streets now that you have money. But it's people that's in the streets that's trying to get away from the streets to go make money legitly, and you're trying to go back to it. You got that reverse mindset. Everybody's struggling to get out. You're struggling to get in. Dog, that's not how you fit in. That is not how you fit in. If you can't understand that there's only 2 ways out of the streets, jail or death, and you can't understand that, dude, you're in the NBA. Ain't nothing in the streets for you. You want to go to the club and sit in VIP, chill out with your people. But you got to understand, some of those people that are around you, they're not there because they love you or they support you. They're there because of what you can do for them. Yep. You have to understand that. The faster you understand that, the better your life will be. And this goes for friends, family, anybody. Anybody can get cut off.
Yep.
Let's cut them off. But when we say stuff like, oh, y'all hating a young boy just trying to have fun and this, that, and the other. So waving a gun around on live, pointing a gun at a teenager, punching him in the face, and then pointing a gun at him in a pickup game is having fun. Now, before we get off this topic, I have a teenage son. I have 2 teenage sons. Now, if they go to play, and what was said was, oh, well, he told Ja he was going to shoot up his house. He's going to light it up like a Christmas tree. You got to be smart enough to walk away from that. You got to be very smart enough. You can't let somebody bait you in to doing something stupid like that. Because they're saying dollar signs. That's what they're saying. You just saying, oh, he just disrespected me. All right, player, do what you do. Now, on the flip side, if he didn't say that, You hit one of my teenage sons and you pull a gun out and you wave it in his face like you gonna do something. 9 times out of 10, well, let's say 8 times out of 10, I'm already sitting on the sidelines watching them play. I love watching my kids play because I love to coach from the sidelines. You know, I'm yelling, strap up, you know, but you do that to my son. I don't care if you're an NBA star. You could be anybody. You could be the most powerful man. You could be Warren Buffett for all I care. You could be Bill Gates. But you punch my teenage son and put a gun in his face. That's a whole nother problem you have.
Mm-hmm.
Because me personally, you just threatened my kid's life with that gun. Whether, you know, if it was warranted or not, it didn't need to come to that over a pickup game. Now, if my son got out of hand and disrespected you, I'll handle that. I'll handle that because I know he's wrong. So just so it doesn't escalate, I'm jumping in there. Hey, get your ass in the car. Let's go. You know you fucked up for that. But now, if he didn't do anything and you did this, now you got a problem with me. Forget having a problem with the teenager. Now you got a problem with a grown ass man. And I'm the type that I'm diabolical. I may not get you today, may not get you tomorrow. I may get you 5 years from now and make you remember. But I'm gonna get you. See, that's a whole nother can of worms that you got to open up. You got to understand you cannot go to war with people who have nothing to lose when you have everything to lose.
That's the key to the whole thing. Just recognizing what's at stake.
I hope he put out a statement about how he's sorry and this, that, and other. Don't be sorry, Ho. Be careful.
Yep.
It's just, and it breaks my heart because I like the dude so much. And, you know, I'm a fan of his, but it breaks my heart that he does. Anybody that does dumb stuff like this, like, you've made it. You got the money. You're one of the best players in the league. Act like it.
You also got to remember he didn't have that shine that everybody else had coming out.
True.
So this is his fame. Like, the story goes that there was a coach at Murray State that just happened to be at this AAU tournament. He went to go get a hot dog, and in the auxiliary gym, this kid was jumping around, dunking, and doing stuff. So he goes, because he kept hearing all the noise from the other room. He goes and checks it out and stumbles across Ja that way. That's how Ja ends up at Murray State. So he didn't have the glitz and glamour before he got there. And if he got anything, it was off of whatever coattails Zion had. But he never had his own personal shine.
I get it.
So, like, this is his, first steps, his emphasis in being the man, being famous.
But you know what I don't want for him? I don't want him to be 32, 33, 34 years old. And they're doing a Where Are They Now episode of something. And he's somewhere, he be like, well, yeah, I had it all and I messed it up. I threw it away. Now I'm trying to talk to kids about not throwing it away. How about you don't throw it away and you still talk to kids about not throwing it away? And then when you're 34, 35 years old, you're still in the league. You're still producing. You know, you're still going through the motions of being an NBA player. You got a couple of awards under your belt. You got some community awards. You got a scoring title. You got an MVP. Like, things like that. Have a solid career. Build your resume and then start, you're already planning for retirement already because you never know when it can end. So you're saving your money. I thought it was so beautiful that he bought his parents a house next door to his. I thought that was beautiful. And I was like, okay, that is great. But then all of this is coming out. This is heartbreaking to me. It really is. I want to hear what his dad has to say. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear what his dad has to say. Moving on. NFL Combine news. Ah, man. We had some surprises at the Combine.
Oh, you said surprises?
Yeah.
What was a surprise?
What was my man name? That ran the 4.3.
Oh, you talking about the kid, the Joakim Bennett cornerback from Maryland?
Yeah. Did you
So
think he was
the
going to
two
run
Maryland corners, Devontae Banks or Durante Banks, and I think it's Joakim Bennett or something like that. They both ran back-to-back 4.3s. So one was like a 4.30, one was a 4.36. So I knew Baker was going to run a good one because I have Baker he's falling between 5 and 6 for me in terms of corners in this draft. I think he'd be particularly good corner in here in Washington because of the style he plays and his ability to play what they call, I guess it's called a matchup in their zone concepts, and he's already doing that at Maryland. So I already thought he would be a perfect fit for this team. So he wasn't a surprise in terms of where he could be on this group or this list, but I do get the 4.3 was a surprise. The fact that both of them ran a 4.3, and then the kid DJ Turner from Michigan was the other kid that ran the 4.27, which I didn't see. I don't remember seeing Turner when I watched Michigan. So that's a case where you got to go back and watch the film or watch his highlight tape and see what you missed.
Also, here's a surprise right here. Anthony Richardson, 40.5 vertical inch.
All right, that's the surprise.
That's a surprise. Not what he did. I never seen a quarterback jump that high.
See, I knew this kid was. I knew he was going to steal this show, and then I told anybody that would listen to me that's the guy he's going to jump up the board. He's going to do everything because he's going to test well. He's going to test out of the jump, and him and Levis put on a show yesterday with their arms, and even Stetson Bennett got in. If there's a surprise, that's the surprise. The way Stetson Bennett came out a little bit yesterday for me, because I think he moved himself off of being a day 3 guy to a day 2 guy. So that's who I think was my personal biggest surprise from what I saw yesterday.
Now, it's early, but if you had to rank the quarterbacks coming out of the combine, who's your 1, 2, and 3?
All right, so let me ask this question first.
Okay.
Is this off of my likes or is this off of what I think will happen?
Oh, this is all for you. This is all you. I don't care what's going to happen. I want to hear what you got to say.
So my number 1 is Anthony Richardson. My number 2 is Will Levis. 3 is Stroud. 4 is Young. For me, and anybody that knows me knows I'm a sucker for strong arm QBs. If you ain't gotta. They were talking about Levis throwing at 59 miles per hour, and somebody was like, "Well, when we'd ever throw a football at 59 miles per hour? Maybe on an 18-yard dig when you got fitted between the safety and the linebacker. Maybe that's when you do it. Like it's going to happen. Quarterbacks do it. Brett Favre used to throw the ball 50, whatever it was, all the time, just to crank it in.
Rocket balls.
And see, and I always gotta believe, if there's daylight, I can get it through there. So that's how I see it that way. For what I think the punters are going to do, I think it's going to be. I think Stroud falls to 4, because he doesn't have the upside. Bryce Young does have the consistency, so I think Bryce stays at 1, Levis goes 2, Richardson goes 3rd. Then you get Stroud as the last one, but all 4 of these guys will be gone in the top 7. So whoever has the 7th pick is picking the last. They're going to get the scraps of what's left.
And the draft is always on Thursday night. We always go live during the draft.
Okay.
And so I would love for you to be ready for that, so we can go live, and you can go ahead and call the next pick. Because I'm already ready to take bets on these, because I'm like, yeah, if the Midnight Rider say this guy's going next, that's who I'm betting on. That's the odds of it, because he said it's next.
I mean, it's just if you listen, I've listened a whole lot and I watch a lot of college football, and I think the thing that's going to help Levis is that he played at Kentucky, and if you look, he has this kind of the same effect that Dak had, where he did. If you look at their number 1 running back, their number 1 wide receiver, they probably wouldn't play anywhere else in the country. In that conference as a starter. They only started at Kentucky. So that's where he's behind the 8 ball. He doesn't have the same talent that everybody else has. He doesn't have the Jamar Chase, the Kenyon Buttes. He doesn't have those guys, the So he's not going to have the same the same stats. You know what I'm saying? Still not going to look as pretty or aesthetically pleasing as everybody else. So that's where he comes in, and I think he's going to be too easily. And then what he said yesterday too, he's like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to throw because I got a cannon." NFL scouts will eat that up, man.
Mm-hmm. Here's my thing. I was talking to Gary, and I was telling him he was telling me about the O lineman. I wanted to see that O lineman work out, so that I wanted to see who shined, because Ron Rivera said we're looking at O linemen and we're looking at cornerbacks, and cornerbacks have shined. And speaking of which, I heard Shaquille Griffin could be a possibility here in Washington, because he's his own corner. He works, and everybody's like, well, we can move Fuller to the slot. Somebody said, why do y'all keep trying to move Fuller to the slot? It's not going to work.
Right.
And I loved it. I love that exchange. However, I have to look at it like this. If we're looking at O-line play, give me your top offensive line that Washington has a chance of getting.
The first guy, I've taken this kid every time with either my first or my second round pick. It's John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota, the center. I think they just got to get that position right. They cannot wait on Rouillet. In the worst case scenario, if Rouillet doesn't pan out or doesn't stay healthy, you have something that's a natural center that can make the calls and make everything happen. And you're not depending on Spencer Lawson. Even though he played well then in that stretch, but still, I just need somebody that I know, and I don't know what this guy, if he can get hurt or not, but you just gotta take that chance. You gotta go up for a kid. The tackle from Maryland intrigues me, but I'm a little nervous about him. That's the kid Jalen Duncan, and then we have the guard Osiris Torrance from Florida. Is another person that intrigues me because we need guard play big time. So I think those are 1, 2, and 3 kind of for me. What's the faithful guard play?
Yes. Are we not re-signing Wes Schweitzer?
Our guard play is terrible.
So
we need to get rid of. So first and foremost, Trey Turner need to go. Andrew Norwell, he can go, and you just got to start from there, because more likely you're starting Cosme at one guard. You're pushing Cosme down because they've been trying to push Cosme down the whole time. Okay. So your guards are Cosme, Chris Paul, what's the other kid? Sadiq Charles, and then whoever else. There's one other person, and that's either going to be the kid you draft or the person you bring in through free agency.
Here's my thing. Wes Schweitzer, when he plays, and they put him at backup, but when he's on the field, he has in run blocking, he has more win shares than anybody in the league. And pass blocking, he does not allow sacks. Why am I getting rid of one of the best guys who worked hard to get there? Like, the dude out of pads has slimmed down. I watched his workouts. He slimmed down. He's agile. And I'm going to stand on the table to keep Wes Schweitzer, because I told him online, I said, dog, if I ran behind you right now at 40 years old, I could pick up a $125. All I got to do is wait for you to pull, grab your shirt tail, and let's go. That's how good he is on run blocking. That dude right there can block his ass off. I love it. You got to keep him in-house.
I love it, but he got to stay healthy. Like right now, your availability has got to be your best ability.
Okay.
And that's the problem this line has had.
But that's the problem we've had for years.
Okay. Go ahead.
We've always had that problem. You know when we don't have that problem? When Bubba Taya is the head athletic trainer. We don't have that problem. We need Bubba back. That's what we need. Because whoever else we get, we can't keep nobody healthy.
Okay.
But you not being on Schweitzer, I need you to get on this Schweitzer train.
You know what? I haven't started my off-season look. Like, I'll go back and watch the season. Normally, in a couple of weeks, I'll go back and like kind of piece together a couple games and see what I see. But the problem is he can't be your backup center ever again.
No, because he's better at guard.
I mean, you gotta give up that dream.
No.
You gotta give up that dream.
Well,
he's a guard.
Yes,
he's a guard. That's all he is. He's not your backup center. He's not your emergency center. He's a guard.
Here's my thing. I love him at center, but I prefer him at guard.
No.
Hold on, let me explain.
He cannot play center anymore.
Let me explain. The reason why I say I love him at center, because he's a body. He was healthy, and we needed somebody in there. That's why I loved it. But having him at guard is a better attribute than having him at center. But having him at center, it looked like they were just lost. It's like no repetition. It's like he didn't get the reps. He didn't get he didn't get anything.
He struggled with the snaps.
Yes. And it's like they was like, hey, Wes, go play center. Well, I haven't practiced it. Go play it.
Like it's just the way the snaps are coming off. And as a quarterback, the second you take your eyes to go find the football and you got to pick them back up, you done lost a couple of seconds and just trying to figure out where everything is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're fishing to figure out what's going on.
Well, we're going to jump over to NFL draft questions. And I had a question for you. I can't remember what the damn question was. Oh. Chicago.
Right.
Chicago has been in talks with different teams about that number 1 pick. And word on the street, they're going to get a quarterback with that number 1 pick. But people are inquiring about Justin Fields. My question to you with this draft question, on draft day, why would you ever trade a Justin Fields, who's a dual threat quarterback, who hasn't had any weapons in Chicago? Why would you trade a guy that you never built around to bring in another guy in the same situation who does almost the exact same thing? Thanks for taking my call. I hang up and listen.
All right, so I'm going to take this question 2 ways. So first part of this, let's think about it like this. Let's go economic standpoint. I'm a new GM. I'm just getting this team. It's my first full season with this team. If I get rid of Fields, who's already been in the league 2 to 3 years, I'm 2 years away from having to pay this man. So why would I do 2 years of him, build around him, and then have to start making cap decisions in 2 years? Whereas if I get rid of him, get the capital from trading him, get this brand new kid, and this is my kid that I handpicked and I scouted, I found. This is my guy. This is not some guy inherited. That's A. B, I get a full 4 years of him on a rookie deal as opposed to 2 years, and then I got to sign Justin Fields to a long-term deal. So I got 4 years now where I can build this team any way I want for 4 years. I can go get whatever because he's cheap. So that's why I would do it 1. 2, the simplest part is I ain't draft him. So since I didn't draft the kid, I can cut bait with him. I'm bringing my guy with my coaching staff, with my philosophy, and then I can still build. So that's the other reason why you make the move. I get the dude threat. I love the kid. I've loved the kid since I watched him, Sam Hartman, on QB1 or Talking QB1 on Netflix. So I have no problems with the kid. I just think from a business decision standpoint, if I'm a GM, I'm starting the clock over. I'm getting me my quarterback, and I'm going to figure it out from there. Because what I'm also going to do is when I move Fields, whatever picks I'm getting, I'm drafting me a running back. I'm drafting me a wide receiver. I'm getting some O-line help. I'm doing all those things to put something around my guy and build my team my way. Because I'm Ryan, I think it's Ryan Proles, and I'm the new GM. So it gets to be my situation and my setup. Go ahead. Because I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Number 1. Mm-hmm. My GM philosophy is way different. Now, mind you, I don't have any NFL GM experience. That's my dream. That's one of my dream jobs, along with, owning a funeral home. That's, if I could pick one of those 2 careers, I'd be set for life because I'm good at both of them. Because as a GM, I'm going to bring in people that know more than me to make me look good. So, right. But however, you have Justin Fields. Okay. If you take Justin Fields and you say, all right, I'm the new GM. You have to look at the team from top to bottom. What do I need to change to make this kid successful? Can I make him successful? I don't care if he's not my guy or not. And I hate to use this because it doesn't translate, but it kind of does, but it doesn't. And I gotta switch it over to Madden. I did a Madden franchise where I simulated 10 years in the future. Right? Now, mind you, none of these guys I've drafted, I took over as owner of this team. I looked over the team and I said, okay, right before the draft, I hadn't scouted anybody. I said, okay, they need this, this, and this. All right, let's go get in the draft and see if we can win with it. We went 13-3, won the Super Bowl. Because with guys that I only drafted maybe 6 guys because they had traded away so many draft picks. But I traded away 6 guys. I mean, I won six. I had 6 draft picks. Built the team up. Come back the next year. I built the team up again with draft picks. You know, I went and made some trades and traded a number 1 for to trade up. I traded with Dallas to get the number 1 overall pick. They needed a quarterback. I traded my backup quarterback to get the number 1 overall pick. I'm good with that. I used that pick to pick a receiver that I needed.
One?
Yes,
overall?
Because I need. Yes,
overall.
If I tell you who it is, because I imported the draft class, it was Justin Jefferson.
Okay,
and I needed him as a compliment to my other receiver that I picked. So now I have 2,000-yard receivers who do it, but I had a run. I didn't need anything else. O-line play was already straight. I needed a receiver or a middle linebacker, but I had a middle linebacker in-house that I was grooming. When I got there, he was a 67 overall. I worked on him. I got him up to a 76. Now he's my starting middle linebacker. He ain't letting nothing go. Like, the kid can move. He got superstar attribute. I'm good with that. I don't care. I groomed him into what he needed to be. And he's on a small deal. But my point is, you work with what you have and see if you can win, and then you start moving parts. But you can't. I don't like that where he's not my guy. I don't want him.
All right, but this is year 3 for him, right?
Right.
So he's year 3. Next year, I have to answer the question: do I either take his 5th year option up because I got to pick it up sooner than later?
Yes.
And that's another question. We're gonna come. So we got more NFL questions. So you got to pick up his 5th year option, and then you also got to sign. So 3 years is your window right now. You're looking at this year, next year with him. This is why I'm saying I'd rather have the 5. Start my clock fresh. Give me 5 years, because now with 5 years, I can put a couple guys, just like you said. So now when I'm signing guys to 3-4 year deals, it's in this window that I'm creating myself. I'm creating a window from year 2 to year 4. This kid's pro career, where we should be at our peak. We should be able to do whatever we have to do. And the reason we're doing that is because it's a short window and I got to pay him soon. I'd rather pay in 5 years than in 3 years. That's just my GM philosophy in that situation.
But if you don't, you're going to have the same problem. You bring in Bryce Young, but he has no receivers, no running back. You have none of this stuff around him.
Yeah, dude, because I'm drafting. So what you're doing is, all right, so you trade Fields. You're probably getting, let's say you get a 1-3 and a conditional 2 the following season. Something like that. I'm going to keep it very loose. So with the pick you pick up at the first round pick, depending on where it is, because you're not going to trade it too far down, because you still want to get you elite talent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, because you're taking the quarterback with your first pick. So your second first rounder, you're going to either draft the best player available, whether it's Skoronski, the tackle from Northwestern, whether it's Johnson from Georgia, the other tackle that's out there, or you might go draft you an elite running back. The name I'm gonna always say is Bijan Robinson. I'm gonna say his name the whole draft period, because there's no running back he's gonna be the first running back taken in the top 15. It just depends on where. And if he gets to 16, the commander should lick their chops and just be ready for the phone line to explode. But you get your running back, you get your wide receiver, because this class is full of good wide receivers. So the kid Jordan Addison is probably one of the best receivers in this draft. The kid Zay Flowers, the 5'10" kid out of Boston College, who if he had a quarterback the last 2 years, he would have been a star. So it's the impact of rookie wide receivers. Last year you had Chris Olave with 1,000 yards. You had Garrett Wilson with 1,000 yards. You had 700 yards from Jahan Dotson. So they make impacts right away.
Mm-hmm.
So you can if you can get your big three in your first 4 rounds of this draft, you're walking in way better. Because all they were coming in with is David Montgomery, who's been slow as dirt, but he can run over people. Khalil Herbert from Virginia Tech is decent. You tag anybody with Mooney finally goes down to where he's supposed to be as a 2 or 3 receiver. So you start making your roster better by putting people down where they're supposed to be on the depth chart. And David Montgomery should be finding a U-Haul and going somewhere else. I'm sorry.
No, because as you're talking, I'm looking down and I'm pulling up some things. Now, you can have these draft picks, but free agency, according to overthecap.com, the Bears will have $91.8 million in free agency money. Okay? With $91.8 million, you can go get a Jacoby Myers, because you get Jacoby Myers in the slot.
No,
okay?
We're not doing that.
You're not picking up Orlando Brown to show up your offense line. You can do a lot of work.
I'll do that, but I'm not picking up Jacoby Myers. I could draft a kid in the 5th round and give me the same quality of a Jacoby Myers.
Oh, I was gonna let you have Evan Ingram too.
What?
Okay, running back wise, I know you don't get.
Nah.
No. Evan Ingram's a free agent. He a free agent.
I think they franchise tagged him.
Ugh.
I don't know why, but hey.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
I mean, he did have a good year there, though. I think he had 800 yards and 8 touchdowns, if memory served me correctly. He did play some good ball for him.
I'm still bitter to what he did to me 3 years ago in daggone fantasy. I needed to win a game, and he couldn't even catch a pass just so I could win a game. But Leonard Fournette, will he fit in Chicago?
Why?
I mean, hell, I'm throwing names out there.
He's a running back.
I'm throwing names.
This is you keep forgetting this is the house of Shanahan, and we don't believe in old running backs.
House of Shanahan, I love it. Yeah, I felt that way before once. I was like, yeah, I'm not signing a 34-year-old running back. But then I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and sign him because he still got a 98 speed. I can run screens with him.
Nah.
Hey, he was good. I use him just like Joe Riggs, right around the goal line.
That's fine.
That thing in there.
That works on Madden.
Yeah, that works on Madden. That don't work in real life no more.
We get to the goal line now. We throwing the ball like it's nothing. So I don't know, man.
Smash mouth football does not exist anymore. So there is no, hey, Jerome Bettis 3 carries, 3 yards, 3 touchdowns. There is no more of that. There's no more of that. But with $91 million, you don't have to get everything in the draft. You can go shopping and you can get what you need in the draft, but you can go ahead and say, you know what? The draft is like going to Harris Teeter.
Right.
You can go to Harris Teeter in the draft, but you say, you know what? Sometimes Harris Teeter don't have what I need. Let me go over here to this Giant, which is the free agent market on the first couple of days. That's Giant. Then it kind of bumps down. It's Giant and Safeway. Then it kind of bumps down the Food Line. Then it bumps down the Shoppers. Then it bumps down the Aldi's.
Right.
Then it bumps down the Save-A-Lot.
Okay.
So, that's what it does. But if I'm going to shop for the groceries, my mindset is not, well, Justin Fields is not my guy. Just because Justin Fields is not my guy, I want to see what I can do with him. I want to evaluate him talent-wise if I put the weapons around him. If I give him the tools to win, at least 2 of those years, I don't have to pick up the 50 option. I can let him roll. I can let him go.
Now you're starting all over again at quarterback. You're 2 years into your regime and you're starting over at quarterback if you don't bring him back. That's the whole. That's the point I'm trying to. That's why it makes more sense to get rid of him than it does to keep him. If you have questions, what you just said, why be in the quarterback market in 2 years when you got 5 years? And that's the whole thought process for me.
I get it.
Because now you're like, oh, I give him weapons. 2 years, we're out of it. Now we're starting over again. And more than likely, in this league at year 3, if it's not fixed, I'm looking for a job.
Yeah, because nobody gets 5 years anymore. Nobody gets 5 years to say, hey, let me let me give you 5 years to put this thing together. You know, I think Ron Rivera got 5 years because of ownership's in flux, and I'm glad he's getting 5 years because we see improvement.
Well, it's not even ownership in flux. It's the fact that he's the only steady hand that this organization has. So, yeah, I mean, and I like Jason Wright a lot, but even the stuff that he does, I mean, the mistakes they make, you know, with whether it's the Shield, it was something else they did. Oh, the Sean Taylor thing, all that stuff, man. I'm sorry, it's not coming together well. So my whole thing was, and I made a joke this week because I saw where the New York State Highway Authority put a section of the highway and named it after Jackie Robinson. But when they made the memorial, the Jackie part was spelled wrong. It was Jakie. And I joked that they must have had the Commanders talent team or PR team do the setup for the highway. So I'm sorry. But yeah, man, they just messed everything up. I mean,
but it's true. Remember the Nationals jersey?
Oh, the London Flecker?
Yeah. It's so many episodes that you can't get DC to spell nothing sometimes. I don't know who they must have got this firm out of deep in Virginia. They can't do anything.
Yo, it's crazy, man.
Man,
so here's my question to you.
Okay.
Because you said draft question, but we're gonna change. This is just the NFL question.
Okay.
And it's a local question. So Chase Young, is it right or wrong to pick up his 5th-year option?
Right.
Wrong.
Why do you feel it's wrong? I say it's right because we lost a season of him. We saw what he could do his rookie year when he was healthy. We saw he could make an impact. That second year, the problem is a lot of hero ball, and that wasn't just him; that was everybody. But it looked like the team played better while he was out. But he has to learn how to fit inside of the scheme. He doesn't have to be the guy. But I say right to pick it up because we need to get that 5th year to get him going, to get him to the heights that he should be at.
The only reason it's wrong is because when you give him the 5th year, the 5th year now is injury protected. So if he gets hurt in the next the 4th season, and it's a ACL or something like that, you're on the hook for it. He's got to be on your roster year 5, no matter what. That's the only reason. And then you're paying him whatever the jump is. If it jumps up to 15 or 18 million, whatever that jump is, you're guaranteeing that. And that's the only reason I don't do it, is because I feel like if this is year 4 coming up anyway. So this year is his prove it year. Yeah. And midway through the season, if he's showing me he's balling out, I'm gonna go ahead and jump and make the extension talk and give him the extension during the season. And that way, the next year his cap number drops, and I'm not getting the full effect of his 5th year deal number will be so much higher than the first year of an extension.
Dig it.
Now I'm in GM mode. Now I'm trying to save money.
Yeah. And the thing is, one thing I can say about Marty Hurney and Martin Mayhew is they have given up some of the most cap-friendly deals to certain players. And, they're not putting people in for long-term. You're not getting 5 years, 120 million to guys. You're not committing that type of money. But they're committing good money to good guys. And the contracts, compared to what we're used to, the contracts look a lot better these days. They do. Because they seem like the guaranteed money is there. It's there enough for the player to be happy, but it's not to the point where we're like, oh man, we lost this guy 9 years ago. He's still on our daggone our books.
But now you're talking chicken or the egg conversation. And I tell you, so the chicken is, are we being financially responsible? The egg is because the owner doesn't have the cash on hand because he's cash strapped. So once you sign a person for one of these deals, that money has to go in escrow. And if you only got the cash, you can't make that deal happen. So which one is it? Are we being physically responsible, or are we just physically strapped because our owner doesn't have money?
Well, it's kind of hard to believe he don't have. What you mean? He don't have liquid money,
right?
So that's totally different.
So you heard about the $55 million, right?
Yes, he took a loan out that was approved by the NFL owners.
So he's got that. Then you heard about where he charges the team to use his jets.
I didn't get that far, really.
So it's like a $4 million charge for the jet. Then there's like he gets a $10 million salary. This is all alleged. This is all from pieces that I've taken out of the ESPN article, or the Washington Post article. This is not me reporting anything. So no need to send the cease and desist. But these are just things that have been reported that allegedly have happened. So there's that. Then there's the $4 million that he gave himself because he put the logo on the plane. So he called that advertising. So I don't know how often you're in the airport on the private jet side and you look at the logo and be like, oh my gosh, I gotta think about the Redskins now because I just saw that plane with the logo on the tail. So yeah, like there's been some things going on that just doesn't look right. And I think for him, unfortunately, he's dug himself in a hole that he can't get out of. And like sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot so much that you don't have any allies anymore. And I think all his allies are gone.
Well, take this as a grain of salt. I saw this before we got on air. Saw when I got up this morning. Take this as a grain of salt. It's not 100% factual, but the owner of the Houston Rockets is said to be finalizing a deal to buy this team.
Okay.
Not my choice, to be honest. Not my choice. But when they said no Bezos, I was like, anybody that buys this team, I'm on it. Like, hey, as soon as they buy the team, I'm calling them, hey, let's go to lunch. Let's sit down and talk. I don't want to talk about nothing team related. I just want to tell you thank you, and I want to buy you lunch. I want to take them out to like Ponderosa or something, Sizzler or something. We can go to Chi-Chi's if you want. Shit. But anybody that buys this team that's not Jeff Bezos, I'm good with it. And I'm not a really big Bezos fan. I mean, what he did with Amazon, yeah, it's convenient. I think about the employees.
Right.
And I'll leave it at that. Because if you don't know the horror stories of the employees, and he may not know none of them. He may not know none of the stuff.
Like that's the other thing. Even with the Snyder case, sometimes some of these guys are so far removed from some of the situations that they don't know the pressures they put on people, and when you don't hire the right people, you get a lot of people quitting the manager and not the job.
Mm-hmm.
And this place, Washington, has been notorious for having really good people leave. Yes. And when you have good people and good talent leaving the building on a regular basis, it tells me there's more of an issue with the people in place than it is with the individual that's leaving.
Agreed.
Because you can't tell me every good person that's here does a terrible job and then all of a sudden they have to go somewhere else. I think they're handcuffed. I honestly think Jason Wright's handcuffed to the utmost, and sometimes he just has to cover it up and make it seem like it's his idea, and it's really not. Like the Sean Taylor Memorial 2 years ago, where they were out in front of the porta potties, like stuff like that. I felt like this franchise is so reactive, and we have such a big history of being reactive that, like, literally a phone call came in and was like, "Hey, we gotta get this done this week, and boom, boom, boom. And that's why it dropped like on a Wednesday, and then finally Friday. I mean, they were like, yeah, Taylor, we've been having this in mind, but that's not the case. And it's all because they gotta say PR, just like the Hogs at the final game this season with Sonny Jurgensen. It's all PR. They've been trying to save themselves from themselves for the last 2-3 years. Well, actually, since they've been here. And that's the biggest problem.
For Daniel Snyder to be such a big Redskin fan, I don't see how you bumble certain things. I don't see how it took so long to retire Sonny Jurgensen's number. I don't see how it's taking so long to retire Darrell Green, Art Monk, officially retired Joe Theismann. Yeah, you took them out of circulation, but taking them out of circulation as opposed to giving them a ceremony and saying, "Hey, we're going to retire your jersey. Your number is going to hang." Like Joe Gibbs' headset should be retired. You know, I'm not saying, oh, nobody can wear this headset, but he should get a ceremony himself just for being who he is. What people mean to this organization. And that's why a lot of people don't come back for the alumni events and all of that, because, man, it feels so forced now. But you got guys like Andre Carter and Philip Daniels, Commanders legend. What did you do that was legendary, man?
Right. They just they're the only people that just came back. That's the only thing they've done is they were there. That's their greatest accomplishment.
I hate it. I hate the simple fact that they throw out the word legend like it's candy. I don't like that.
Right.
And that's where you gotta change that. When you talk about changing the culture, that's a part of the culture. Everybody's not a legend.
Right. Everybody's not a great.
You know, the most humble and esteemed Andre Carter. I'll take that.
Right.
You know, the most humble. Like, I love Ken Harvey to death. Is Ken Harvey a legend? I mean, damn, he was a monster, but Ken Harvey didn't win here.
Right.
You know, he was probably the best player we had on the team, but the teams didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can't flash the hardware, I can't call you a legend. If you weren't a part of one of those teams, like an intricate part, Doc Walker can be considered a legend. Mark Rippon can be considered a legend. Because you know why? They were intricate parts of Super Bowl winning teams.
Right, exactly.
So, you know, that you go down as a legend of the team. I get that. Santana Moss, you can consider him a legend because Monday Night Miracle put him in legendary status in Redskin lore. Mark Brunell.
You know, that's funny that you even. So there's like that's one that they always play, but it's two plays that Santana made that always amazes me that they're not in heavy rotation. There's the Kansas City game where he takes the screen 76 to 78 yards for a touchdown. And I think that's got to be Brunell because that's when we had that short offense. Mm-hmm. And then there's a overtime catch against Jacksonville. I want to say it's like 04. I think it's like the first play of overtime. And I don't see that a lot in his highlight reels. Like I see everything else and I remember everything else, but those two catches somehow don't make the list.
And I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've seen him maybe in one highlight reel. But number one, he endeared himself to this area.
Yeah.
And he endeared himself to this team, and he will always be considered a legend. However, the way Jay Gruden treated him that last season really rubbed me the wrong way. He was inactive, and I'm like, okay, dude, we have no receivers. Let the Tanner man play. We need him right now. He wouldn't let him play. Inactive. Oh, he's active. Then it was, inactive. Why? And Jay Gruden was one of those, well, he's not my guy. That's what he was. He's not my guy. That's how he felt about RG3. He felt that way about Santana Moss. And I'm like, that's the guys you should have. I mean, not RG3 per se, but those are Santana Moss is a guy that you need to keep in the locker room. You need to keep him around. He still had gas left in the tank. Let him help out these young puppies, man. Take the pressure off him a little bit. Just my opinion. But you went with Niles Pohl. You know, those are guys you went with. So, yeah. I'm a little emotional right now, so I'm sorry.
That's another show.
Yes, it is. That's content. So we're in the month of March. And the NCAA conference championships and conference tournaments, are heating up.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you're bringing this up. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to win the NCAA tournament. Once everybody's picked and all the seeds are picked, I would love to go on show that if we can do 3 shows that week. If we go that Monday, if they pick on Sunday, we go that Monday, and we go through and we pick all the way down to the championship game, and we fill out the bracket. That's how I'm trying to go. I can never get the boss BJ to do this. I'm gonna get you to do this. Somebody gonna ride me this year.
I'll do it. I mean, the problem is that's probably gonna be like one of like 3 brackets, but I'll do that.
Oh yeah.
I'll do that.
I'm actually thinking about putting one in on CBS and actually, seeing if I can win.
Well, I do that every year. So every year I do CBS, and then I do the what is the ESPN? ESPN Challenge.
I remember one year I was at work. I was receiving manager. So I had everything pulled up on my computer. I had did my bracket and everything. I'm like thumping my chest, and it was good the first 2 rounds. I was all right. Man. All year was, God damn it. Everybody's like, what the hell wrong with you? I was throwing stuff. So my whole bracket then got busted, man. 2 games. Bracket busted. My GM was like, you actually lost? I said, yeah. He said, oh my God. He said, what was the game? I forget what the game was. It was a game he lost to. He was mad. I said, damn. I said, finally, we on the same page. He understood what I was saying. Because he knew that I wanted to take off those day games. I love being home for those. Because when in high school, let's go with a little nostalgia. We had teachers that would actually turn the game on. And these are men and women. They would turn the game on and let us watch a little bit of the game during the day so we could see what scores. And then be like, all right, we got to get down to class. I'll turn it back on before the end of class. And they kept us going. We had one teacher that would go to other classrooms and be like, hey, Michigan beat so-and-so earlier today, and then leave out the room and be gone. But those days at school, that Thursday and that Friday, was some of the best times. That's the only time that I love going to school because I never missed a game. I didn't have to cut class. I had to go to class those days because somebody was going to show the game. And being at work now as an adult, and the technology we had with the phones and computers, I was pulling this stuff up on the computer and had it playing. And guys would come back, hey, what's the score? And I tell them the score. They're like, all right. They walk by my desk, hey, what's the score? The GM found out what was going on. He was like, you got the game pulled up? I said, yeah, it's on the computer. He said, oh man, what's the score? Everybody would just come to me. My phone never rang and receiving unless it was something important. Hey, wait, what site you on? I'm on CBS. Man, I can't get it up here. They got it blocked. How you? I said, because I'm not on the company account. I'm on my personal account on the computer. Oh, what's the score? I had managers calling me, man. Everybody want what's the score? You walk out the door, go smoke a cigarette, you catch a little glimpse, and you walk. That's the type of stuff that March Madness does to you. It brings people together. The NBA Finals, March Madness, and the Super Bowl. 3 events that bring people together. People that don't normally talk to each other start talking to each other because it's either a game that they find out they like the same team, or they got a rivalry going on.
Right.
3 times.
That's funny because for us, it was when I was working, my manager would be like, look, like I used to send requests for meetings. Like, hey, we're going to sit down with this client on March 17th. And he's like, no, we're not. What you mean? He's like, dude, A, I'm not gonna be here because I'm out of town for the first weekend. I'm going to Carolina. I'm going here for the first weekend of the tournament. And B, don't you know it's the first weekend of the tournament? I was like, oh, okay. Or you would go put in a request and somebody beat you to the request for the days off. So now you got to be at work. So now you're on your computer because you know you ain't doing nothing after 12 on that Thursday and that Friday. You might as well, it's a wrap. No, productivity has dropped off the face of the earth from after Thursday at 12 and Friday at 12. And honestly, those are the best 2 days of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And if we got to be honest, I think the tournament's there's a part of people watching the tournament that lie to themselves. They're like, oh, I want to see all the upsets. I want to see that. But when you get down to those final 8-4 games, and you got some team like Chicago, Illinois versus George Mason, ain't nobody watching that because they don't identify with those teams. It's like you like the upsets early, but you don't like them late because now you don't relate to those teams. And I always find that funny. Like I always laugh at that.
I have never been a fan of the playing game, but now I like to watch the playing game. Playing games come on like Tuesday, yep. Wednesday sometimes, and I'll actually sit down and watch a little bit of it.
But have you ever been there?
No. Funny story. We were supposed to go to, what was it? It had to be, this was about 4 years ago. We had planned it. We was like, the regionals are coming to Capital One. We're going to buy the tickets. We're going in. We're going in there as a group. Man, it came around in November when I was like, tickets gone on sale, y'all. Let's go. We looked up the price. The cheapest ticket for one person was $1,000. We wanted to sit at least midway for all the games, $4,000. I said, man, I guess we're not going to make it, y'all. I said, I can't fade $1,000 right now. You know, I really can't. We got Christmas coming up and Thanksgiving, and everybody's like, yeah, I guess we'll be watching this on TV. I've always wanted to go to a regional. I would love for DC to be the host city of the Final Four. You know, and just to experience that and to be able to say, hey, I was at the national championship. I've always wanted any tournament game for real, because you know you don't just get one game. Right. That ticket gets you 3 to 4 games sometimes.
So 98, Mason's the host for the first 2 rounds because Georgetown was in the tournament. So it fell to us. So we got tickets for, my roommate was head of our intramural department. I forgot what the actual title was, but he was like the office manager. So the tickets went through him. So of course we got tickets for the first 2 nights. We got all day, the day pass, the night pass, and then the Saturday pass, or the Sunday pass actually was. So it's funny how first the fans shift. So for the first game, whatever that the 2 teams are, their fans are in the lower bowl, and the teams that play after in the upper bowl. But once you start, the way the momentum shift is the people up top will root for the underdog. And it will sound like a home game for the underdog. So I was at the infamous UConn versus LIU Brooklyn. And LIU Brooklyn had a lefty guard out of Jersey. He dropped 47 on Khalid Elamine, Richard Hamilton and company. But it was funny because they had all this, like the crowd was just jumping on their backs because everybody was trying to see the upset. But the only problem was they had so many guys trying to shoot the 3 that they shot themselves out of the ball game. But that weekend, that night, that whole 2 days is one of the most unforgettable sports experiences I've ever had, because you just got to see like how teams come in, their traditions, how their fans react, the colors, how the stadium is just separated. It's a beautiful thing, man. If you ever get to do it, I would love to do it again. But I don't know if that's going to happen. It won't be in the cards. But yeah, that was a great experience, man.
The closest I've ever came to that was working for ESPN Zone in 2000. And I wish I still had all my basketballs. I had like several basketballs that I won during March Madness where you just had to answer trivia. And I'm a trivia guy. So they asking, things, and, I'm winning all these basketballs. It was in Indianapolis. I think it was 2000 was Florida. I forget who it was. Florida versus somebody. They took tape in the screening room. Now you know the screening room is with the big TV, with the big screen TV, with all the TVs going around it. If you remember,
Right.
They took tape and split the whole room down the middle. I'm talking straight down the middle. Then you put one logo on the floor, the other logo on the floor, and whichever team, when you came in, you had to separate. They separated the teams. This dude came in. He was, I forget who it was. It was Florida versus somebody. And he was with Florida. His girl was with the other one. They had to separate and eat dinner separate.
That's what's up.
And
but that creates a vibe and an energy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And you couldn't cross the line. So you got men and women yelling back and forth across the line. You see that? And the game, it was a good game anyway. And I want to say, I have to look it up, but whoever came down to the championship game, they did it again. And they were giving away everything. You know, food was good. Food was flowing. We made so much money that night. Only thing is, I worked in the arena. So I was down with the games and everything. Nobody was down there. Not Nan Soul was down there, man. Right. And we were okay with that because we were looking up, watching the TVs. Then you got, what was that? Playoff game later on that year.
Oh, you giving away another? That's a show.
Hey, well, I mean, shoot, times the ESPN zone, man.
Yeah, you got you a show right there, man.
Oh my goodness, the memories, man. But hey, we got March Madness coming up. Well, it's already here. When that tournament, when those Selection Sunday starts, I want to see where everybody goes. I know none of my team's not going to be in. You know,
we may. I'm trying to work on something, but if the person cooperates, we'll also have a female point of view when it comes to March Madness.
I'm with that. If they cooperate, because I do.
We were talking ball the other night. We were talking basketball the other night, and when she was talking, I was like, "Yeah, normal people don't talk like this about basketball. Not when, you wasting this. Let's get you on the show and let's chop it up there. I can't have you taking content."
And I like to do the women's tournament too. So, you know, it's all my bracket always goes Maryland all the way. So, you know, it's either Maryland and South Carolina if they're on opposite sides.
Okay.
That's always my thing. So when Selection Sunday comes, we'll print out the brackets. We'll come through. That'll be a whole show to itself. Just picking the tournament as it is and seeing how good we can do it. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Midnight Rider. I'm the big guy, KG. We don't do no overtime. We are out of here.